Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about what the sugar in your kitchen and the wood that makes up a tree have in common? Well, today we're diving into the amazing molecules that are both the fuel and the framework for pretty much all life on Earth. Let's get into it. So in this explainer, we are going to break down the incredible world of carbohydrates. We're going to start with the simplest little sugars and build our way all the way up to the massive structures that give plants their unbelievable strength. So what even is a carbohydrate? Well, at its most basic, it's an organic molecule made of just three elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The name itself, carbohydrate, kind of gives the game away. It means for every carbon, you've basically got a water molecule hanging around. That's why you see this general formula here. All right, let's start at the very beginning with the absolute fundamentals, the individual building blocks of all carbohydrates. We call these monosaccharides. A monosaccharide is literally just a single sugar unit. Think of it like a single Lego brick. These are the fundamental units, the monomers that we're going to use to build all the bigger, more complex carbohydrates. Now, we can sort these monosaccharides by how many carbon atoms they have. You've got 3 carbon trioses and 5 carbon pentoses, like ribose and deoxyribose, and you should definitely know those because they form the backbone of our RNA and DNA. But the ones we're really going to focus on today are the 6 carbon hexoses. You've heard of these for sure: glucose, fructose, and galactose. Let's put the star of the show, glucose, under the microscope. Its chemical formula is C6H12O6, and when you draw it out flat like this, it looks like a straight chain of carbons. But here's where it gets really cool. That straight chain isn't actually very stable when it's in water. So what it does is it folds up on itself and forms a much more stable ring. And in doing that, it can actually form 2 slightly different versions, or isomers. We call them alpha glucose and beta glucose. The only difference, and I mean the only difference, is which way this one little hydroxyl group is pointing. It seems like such a tiny, insignificant detail, right? Well, trust me, this tiny change has absolutely massive consequences. So why are these simple sugars so important? Well, they have 2 main jobs. First, they are the #1 fuel source for our cells. We break them down through respiration to release energy, which we store as ATP. And second, they are those Lego bricks we talked about, the building blocks we need to construct much, much bigger things. Okay, so we have our building blocks. What happens when we start clicking them together? Well, that takes us to the next level, the disaccharides. Di just means 2, right? So a disaccharide is simply 2 of those single sugars joined up. And you've definitely heard of the big 3. There's maltose, which is just 2 glucose molecules stuck together. Sucrose, which you know as table sugar, is a glucose and a fructose. And lactose, the sugar in milk, is a glucose plus a galactose. So how do we actually join them? It happens through a really clever process called a condensation reaction. Basically, 2 of those hydroxyl groups, the -OHs, line up next to each other. Then, a whole molecule of water gets pulled out, and that frees up the remaining oxygen to form a bridge, linking the 2 sugars together. This special connection has a name. It's called a glycosidic bond. And here's a perfect visual of that happening. You've got 2 alpha glucose molecules. See how their hydroxyl groups line up? A water molecule pops out, and bam! You formed that glycosidic bond, and now you've got a molecule of maltose. So if we build things up by removing water in condensation, how do you think we break them back down? You guessed it, we do the exact opposite. The process is called hydrolysis. Hydro means water, and lysis means to split. We just add a water molecule back in, and that snaps the glycosidic bond, splitting the disaccharide back into its 2 original pieces. This is exactly what happens when you digest sugar.
These are the vital facts linked to this section. Study them thoroughly as they are vital for examination point of view.
All right, now we're ready for the big time. We're moving on to the giants of the carbohydrate world, the polysaccharides. Poly means many, and these are super long chains of monosaccharides. First, let's look at how living things use them to store huge amounts of energy. But hang on. This brings up a good question, right? If glucose is the fuel, why not just have tons of it floating around in your cells ready to go? Why go through all the trouble of linking it up into these enormous chains? Well, the answer is all about keeping the cells safe and stable. If you had all that glucose dissolved inside, water would rush into the cell through osmosis, and it could actually swell up and burst. Not good. Plus, glucose is pretty reactive, so by packaging it up into a big insoluble and unreactive polymer like starch, the cell can stash away a ton of energy in a really compact way without messing up its internal chemistry. It's brilliant, really. In plants, their energy storage molecule is starch, and starch has two parts. The first one is called amylose. It's just a long, straight chain of alpha glucose units all linked together. And because of the way they're linked, the whole chain naturally coils up into a tight helix. It's a super efficient way to pack it all in. Now, the second part of starch is a myelopectin, and in animals, we have our own version called glycogen. These are also long chains of alpha glucose, but with a key difference. They're branched. These branches give the molecule tons of little ends. And why does that matter? It means that when you need energy fast, enzymes can attack all those ends at once and release glucose much, much more quickly. Okay, so we've seen that chains of alpha glucose are perfect for storing energy. But what happens if we build a chain using that other version, beta glucose? Well, everything changes. We go from energy storage to creating some of the strongest materials in nature. Okay, now this is the critical part. Cellulose is a polymer of beta glucose, and because of the way that hydroxyl group is pointing, to form the link, every other glucose molecule has to literally flip upside down. This little flip prevents the chain from coiling. Instead, it creates a long, straight, and incredibly rigid chain. But a single rigid chain doesn't explain the unbelievable strength of something like wood. The real secret, the real magic, happens when these individual chains start to interact with each other. And that interaction is all thanks to something called a hydrogen bond. You see, in those hydroxyl groups, the oxygen is a bit greedy with electrons, so it becomes slightly negative. That leaves the hydrogen slightly positive. It creates a tiny little magnet. And so, the slightly positive hydrogen on one molecule is attracted to the slightly negative oxygen on a molecule right next to it. That attraction is a hydrogen bond. And now we can see the payoff. Because the cellulose chains are so straight, they can line up perfectly parallel to each other. This allows thousands, millions, billions of those little hydrogen bonds to form between them. Any one bond is super weak, but together, it's like a massive sheet of molecular Velcro. They bundle together into these incredibly strong microfibrils and fibers, and that's what gives a plant cell wall its amazing, almost steel-like strength. So let's just pull this all together. It's an amazing story. We have three main polysaccharides, all built from glucose. You've got starch and glycogen, both made from alpha glucose. Their coiled and branched structures make them perfect for storing energy. Then you have cellulose, made from beta glucose. Its straight, cross-linked structure makes it perfect for building things. It's the ultimate lesson in biology. Structure determines function. Just take a moment to really think about that. A simple, tiny flip of one chemical group on one sugar molecule is literally the difference between an energy-rich potato and the hard, rigid wood of a tree. It is just such a powerful reminder of how elegant and efficient nature is. And it makes you wonder, right? What other tiny little changes in nature can you think of that lead to such enormous consequences in the world all around us?
Key terms for this topic are presented on the screen, classified according to different exam boards. These terms require dedicated focus during preparations as they are essential and should never be ignored. In addition, past paper analysis is included for each board and paper type. Be sure to review this carefully as it will greatly contribute to improving your preparations. Also, make an effort to understand the meaning and application of each keyword rather than memorizing them on their own. Regular practice using these terms in past paper questions will significantly enhance your accuracy and overall exam performance.
Please subscribe our channel to get more educational videos. Thank you.